Good Thursday morning, everybody. Schuyler Callihan here on Between the Ears. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on Mountaineers Now at our YouTube page. Give us a like as well. West Virginia wrapped up the home portion of the regular season last night with a 93-81 loss to the TCU Horned Frogs. And I kind of wanted to talk about this at some point, but I kind of wanted to wait as long as I could so we could really just kind of focus on the season and the issues that they were having. But it's time. It's time, right? It's time to talk about what this team could have been. And we're not going to get into the Bob Huggins stuff. We've already done that. We said we're going to move on from that. Yes, what happened last summer 100% absolutely impacted what happened this season, but we're not focusing on that and what that whole situation was. We're going to just talk about what this roster would have looked like. So nothing controversial, but you're talking about Trey Mitchell probably doesn't leave. As a matter of fact, I would almost probably guarantee he probably doesn't leave. Now, maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Just from the outside in, it seemed like he would have been a part of this. Joe Toussaint loved West Virginia. And I feel like he probably would have been another guy that remained with the team. I mean, he may have looked elsewhere to try and get a starting spot, but who knows? Maybe he would have started here alongside Kerr Kriisa. And maybe they go with Kerr, Joe Toussaint, Raekwon Battle as the three kind of backcourt-ish guys. Then you go Trey Mitchell, Jesse Edwards. But who knows? Jimmy Bell, I think, was going to leave regardless. But Toussaint and Mitchell, those are the big ones for sure. Muhammad Wagi, James Okonkwo. I feel like probably one of those may have still left, but more than likely, you at least get two of those guys. If both of those guys come back, your depth in the front court would have been unreal. I mean, a complete difference from what it was this season at the beginning, where they had Jesse Edwards and nobody else, and then Jesse Edwards goes down, and it was really Pat Sumnick playing out of position. So the difficult thing for, I think, a lot of folks to really understand is they look at the Kirk Kriisas and the Jesse Edwardses and the Raekwon Battles of the world and think, yeah, those guys were good, but would they have made much of a difference on a team that would have been completely put together? And I think, yes, 100%, absolutely. When you're talking about these three guys and the guys that they're playing with right now, and this is no ill will or disrespect to those that are on the team, but there's guys that are playing minutes that probably they wouldn't have got if the full team was together. If Trey Mitchell and Joe Toussaint and Mo Wagi and James Okonkwo were here. And that's not, again, a disrespect or a shot at them. It's just they weren't necessarily ready for those types of minutes or those types of roles. And when I look at that starting five, I mean, again, I kind of hinted at it. You would have Kerr Kriisa, you would have Joe Toussaint, you would have Raekwon Battle, you would have Trey Mitchell, you would have Jesse Edwards. I don't know if there's a better starting five. I don't want to say in West Virginia history, because there's been some good starting lineups. Obviously, the one that went to the Final Four. But as far as talent is concerned, I don't know that there's much better, at least in the Huggins era. And I when you go to the point guard position with Kerr, I mean, to just imagine what Kerr would have done, with those guys at his disposal. I mean, it just would have blown my mind to see what he could have done. I think he could have. I don't know that he would necessarily average a double-double with points and assists, but he'd be pretty damn close. Because you got to think, all these guys that he's giving the ball to now, let's face it, they're not putting it in as much as they probably should. If you have Trey Mitchell, if you have Raekwon Battle, Joe Toussaint, all those guys are going to help you spread the floor and open up more opportunities for Kerr to dump it down into Jesse or kick it somewhere out from beyond the 3-point arc, and he's probably going to end up getting 3 or 4 more assists a game. If you have Trey Mitchell, Jesse Edwards isn't getting all the attention down on the block, and vice versa. Trey Mitchell's not getting all the attention. Trey can stretch the floor. He can step out and shoot threes. That allows Jesse to kind of go one-on-one in the post. He's not going to get doubled as much. Raekwon Battle, you can't focus your attention on him. And I think he would have probably benefited more than anybody because you have those two anchors in the front court. Kerr's able to slice and dice things with the ball. And Joe Toussaint or Kobe Johnson, whoever you want to put at the 2 spot, they're capable of knocking down shots and getting the ball to the cup. And Raekwon Battle is the biggest factor of it all because he's the do-it-all guy. He can score in all 3 levels. And you can't defend him the same way with that group as you can with this group. So I really do believe that team, assuming that's the pieces that would have been there, Trey Mitchell, Jesse Edwards, Kerr Kriisa, Joe Toussaint, Raekwon Battle, so on and so forth, I think they would have contended for a Big 12 title. I really do. And it's hard to kind of talk yourself into it because you look at it and there are some of those pieces that are here and playing now, and they've only won 9 games. But again, that starting 5 is much different. The bench is much different. The bench that's in place now, they're not playing a whole lot of minutes with what would have been here. Quinn Slazinski probably would have never ended up at West Virginia. Again, no disrespect to Quinn, but Quinn's probably not here. Ofri Navade, probably not here. So take that for what you will. But I think they would have finished in the top 3, top 4 at worst in the conference. And that's assuming, of course, Raekwon Battle is eligible when, at the start of the season. Even if he would have become eligible at the time that he did, I still think this is a top 4, maybe top 5, Big 12 team. And it's definitely a team that would have made some noise in the not only the conference tournament, but the NCAA tournament. Because as you get deeper into this thing, that team's only going to get better. They're only going to figure each other out more and more. They're going to understand how each other plays. They can play off each other more. And I just think that the ceiling for that team, it's really hard to put one on them. I think at worst, they're Sweet 16 caliber. And I think you could easily say Elite 8 and maybe Final 4. Again, all that depends on matchups in the region that you're in and whatnot. But it's just really hard, I think, for a lot of West Virginia fans to wrap their minds around that kind of all-star caliber team that they could have had and go to what they ended up having this past season or this season, since we're still in it. And just kind of the chaos that came with it and the struggles. It's been a brutal year. And I feel for West Virginia fans because this could have been a special team. It really could have been a really incredible year. But it's a thing of the past. It's something that actually was never a thing of the past. It was kind of something up in the air that, we all kind of looked at and said, if this team's together, they're going to have something special, but never came to fruition for obvious reasons that we won't discuss here today, which we already have. So that'll do it for me here today. I don't want to go too much deeper into this, but I did kind of just want to bring that up and bring up my thoughts on what that group would have been, how good they could have been. I think, again, Sweet 16 for sure. I think they could have easily won a couple of games in the tournament and probably then some. Again, probably the most talented team Huggins would have had from top to bottom at West Virginia. So women's conference tournament starts tonight. West Virginia will begin their first game in the conference tournament tomorrow. They take on the winner of Cincinnati UCF. and we'll kind of help follow along with that. West Virginia men's wraps up the season in Cincinnati on Saturday. We'll have the post-game show for you there. Tuesday, they begin their conference tournament play out in Kansas City. So we've got more basketball talk coming up, along with that coaching search. So be sure to follow along at Mountaineers Now on YouTube and our site at the same handle on X, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on our channels. We thank you so much for tuning in, and this has been another episode of Between the Ears.